Good morning, high school. It is Monday, the 24th of August. Today is the day we start our distance learning and our entire semester of empty halls. It has been an especially long summer with our delayed start to the school year. I've got my uniform, my ID, my coffee. I am ready to go to kick off this semester. But as we started, I wanted to take a chance to share with you all 2 lessons that I learned from distance learning 4th quarter. Exco made a video about advice on distance learning. There's some other documents that we put up on our site, but there are 2 things that I learned personally that I wanted to share with you all. First thing has to do with schedule. When we first started distance learning in 4th quarter, that first day, I was ready and raring to go. I set my alarm to make sure I'd wake up on time. That alarm tone was actually David Sin's inspiration for the theme for this podcast. That first day, I woke up early. I was ready to go. I got to work straight off the bat, pretty much on a school schedule, and worked throughout that day. As the weeks rolled on, though, I was less inspired to wake up on time. I found myself staying up later and later, and waking up later and later. There were only 2 days a week I had to be up at 8:30 in the morning, and only one of those days required me to actually be dressed and visible. The other day I could just kind of log into Zoom and leave my camera off. And so there was no real incentive for me to wake up on time. No incentive to wake up on time also means there was no incentive to go to sleep on time. I was going to bed way too late and not getting enough sleep because there were still times I still had to get up early in the morning. And there was just always more Netflix to watch, so why go to sleep? I actually remember my thought process that I went through during 4th quarter last year. At first, I wouldn't start a new episode of something if it would finish after 11 at night. And then I figured, I can start something as long as it finishes by midnight. And then it was, I won't start a new episode after midnight. And before the weeks rolled on, I'd look and say, it's midnight, I've got time to watch a few more things. I realized the week after school ended that I had gotten into really bad sleeping habits. I wasn't sleeping enough hours because I was going to bed way too late, and I still had to wake up early on occasion for some things. And so it seems kind of odd, but the week after school ended is the week I decided I'm going to actually go to bed at a normal hour every single day. I'm going to keep waking up at a regular time and to get my 8 hours of sleep. You all need 8 hours of sleep too. Staying up late, pulling all-nighters is not helping your school. So that's my first lesson, is even if I'm not constrained by a school day, to put the effort in to make sure that I'm getting regular sleep, I'm going to bed at the same time every night, I'm waking up at the same time every morning, and not allowing that to drift later and later and later as the weeks roll on. The second thing I learned has to do with where I'm sitting right now. During 4th quarter, when we made that sudden shift to distance learning, I hadn't really thought about setting myself up and where I would be. I mostly worked at my kitchen table, the same place I ate and played games and spent time with my family. So I didn't have a specific place where I did my schoolwork. I came up here to the Lego room sometimes to film because the light was better, or I went outside sometimes because the light was better. But for the most part, I was sitting at my dining room table or in my living room on the couch. That just started to feel like I was always at school. I was in the same space, whether I was eating or working or spending time with my family or doing recreational things like watching YouTube or Netflix. It was all the same space, and so I always felt like I was at school. There was never a time I felt like my brain could turn off and I could focus on things besides schoolwork. So moving into this year, I got myself a new setup. I went up to my office and took the extra monitor from my desk so I could set up my dual screens, which helps me do things more efficiently that I have to do for my principal job. I stole this table from P19 since we're not using furniture in classrooms right now for a while, and actually set myself up a workspace. So now I know when I'm at this space, I am at school. I am doing my job. I only come and sit down here at this desk when I'm going to actually be doing work. I don't do other things in this space now. I don't eat food. I don't do recreational things, watch things online. I don't play games. This space is my workspace. And so I know when I'm sitting here, I'm at work, I can focus on what I need to do. But probably more importantly, I can move away from here when I'm doing other things. That means I know that when I'm not sitting at this desk, I'm not at work, I can turn that part of my brain off and not be thinking about school and work and the things that make up my job. So I'd suggest, as we're moving into this semester of distance learning, that you create a space for yourself where you know, when I'm here, this is when I'm going to focus on school and pay attention to my schoolwork. And just as importantly, I'd recommend that you don't do other things in that space, so that you know if I'm not sitting here at this desk or at this table, I'm not thinking about school, I'm not doing school-related things. That way you can have a distinction to some degree between when you're actually doing school and working and when you're not doing school. Otherwise, it can just start to feel like you as well are also just always at school all day long, all week long, because you're never physically in a different space to kind of trigger that thought in your head that I can turn off school right now and think about something else. So there are my 2 lessons that I've personally learned during 4th quarter to keep myself on a schedule and give myself a workspace. As you think about moving into this semester of distance learning and having to kind of rearrange your life and rethink what school and learning means, I hope those are helpful for you. So take a deep breath before you start your first week of distance learning, and we are still hoping that at some point we'll get to see you face to face on campus. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sane. I was always in the same space